Welcome back to Stacy So and So. I hope you had a fabulous week. Thank you for joining me again today. And I hope you enjoyed the last tutorial on how to make, there he is, those little scrappy bunnies. I had so much fun making them, and everyone I've given them to has really liked them. So this week I am going to, instead of going out and buying a dress to wear for Easter, I'm going to be making one. I'm actually pulling a pattern out of my stash that I have made twice before. Well, I've made it as a tunic twice before. I've never done the full dress version, so I thought Easter would be the perfect opportunity. And it is the Simplicity, what's the number? R11065. I think it has this number because there's two patterns in here. There is the adult and the child's version. So if you want to do mother-daughter dresses, do people still do that? My mom used to do that when I was little. We had mother-daughter dresses that we wore for Easter. She might have done for Christmas too. I'm not sure. But this is one of my favorite patterns to make. The first one I made along with my mom. As I did some sewing on it, and then I was having trouble like fitting myself. I'm not good at fitting myself, so I'd go to her and then she would take it and then she would do some work on it. So let me show you. I actually pulled out the two tunics that I have made, and let me show them to you real quick just so you can kind of get an idea of how they look. Okay, so this was the very first one I ever made alongside with my mom. This is a nice open neckline, so it's not up against your throat. The little keyhole opening in the back, I chose to put a little pearl button on it. I did the 3/4 length sleeves. And this is actually, it's an ivory linen. It has the front pockets. And I cut this one kind of short, intentionally, because of what I wanted to wear it with. I love this. I wear it with leggings. I wear it with jeans. And because it's such a nice light linen, I can wear it through most of the summer. So let me stand up and we'll walk over. And here we go. So you can kind of get an idea of where it hangs. But yeah, this was the first one I ever made. Absolutely loved it. And then a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to make one for Christmas. And since I wear a lot of black, I have a lot of black leggings, I decided to do the top in black. And then this one really shows the pattern. There is a panel that's attached to the front that goes straight down through the center of the tunic. And you know I love patchwork. So I pulled out all these patchwork Christmas squares. And yes, it does have pockets still. And I absolutely love this. I didn't get to wear it last year. I was in the hospital. So I was kind of sad about that. But I did wear it the first year I made it. Again, I did a little bit longer sleeve since it was for Christmas. Still has the keyhole back. But isn't that cute? If I made it a little longer, I could have worn this one as a dress. So I haven't decided how long of a dress I want it to be. They do have two versions. So this is much more of like a maxi length. I'm guessing it comes probably below mid-calf, but still a bit above the ankles. Then you have a shorter version that you can make a little bit longer into a dress, or you can wear as a tunic. So I think I'm going to go for this version, because I'm thinking in my head of like what kind of shoes I have to wear with it. I don't want to have to buy all new stuff. So, but this is what I'll be working on today. I did go ahead and I cut out all the pattern pieces, but if you're going to be sewing this, and I will show you each of the pieces that are cut out, and you will need, in addition to your fabric, you're going to need some iron-on interfacing, just a light to medium weight. I used the Shape Flex interfacing by Pellin, and it's really just for the neckline. So, and it's just so it will help it to hold its shape better. Actually, though, I think with the linen one, Mom and we didn't have any. There's no interfacing in it, and it has held. That thing's 5 years old, and it still holds its shape beautifully. So, if you don't have the interfacing, depending on your fabric, you could probably get away without using it, but I did use it in the black one just to help it hold its structure a little bit, the Christmas one, just to hold its structure a little bit better. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you all the pieces I have cut out. And then later on, I will talk about with the pockets, instead of everything just being plain, I have some ideas. So we'll see. All right, so let me turn the camera around and we'll go over all the pieces that you will need to cut out and how much fabric you'll need to make the artisan tunic or artisan dress. So I am going to be making the size large, although I could probably go down to a size medium. A size medium on this is a size 14-16. A large is an 18-20, but I gotta tell you, it does, this pattern runs big. It is very roomy, especially the skirt part of it. So I may have to end up taking mine down a little bit, but that's okay. I can always take it in. It'll be easier. So all the pieces that you're going to need are, you're gonna be for the adults, you're going to need pattern piece number 1, which is, this is the piece. So this is the front. This is cut on the fold. And as you can see, since I'm going for the long version, this is that long piece that goes down the center. The skirting attaches on either side of that. So let me open it up and you can see what I'm talking about. Hopefully this will help you to visualize it as you're making it. So this piece does not get gathered. You will gather the skirt panels and attach them on either side of here, and then all the way around on either side of the bottom part of the bodice and all the way around. So when you cut the back, you cut it into, I already have this pinned together because I'm ready to start sewing. So you cut 2 pieces not on the fold. You have to determine which sleeves you want. You can shorten them. You can make them long sleeves, 3/4 or short. I think I'm going to go with the 3/4 again. So I've got 2 of those cut out. Oh, I just stuck myself. Now the skirt panels, I'm not going to open up all the way, but these are quite large. There we go. This is piece 7 cut on the fold. The fold piece will go in the back. There is a shorten line if you want to shorten it to make it a shorter dress or to make the tunic length. The 2 front pieces of the skirting part, you do not cut on the fold. You cut 2 of these, panel A and panel B. This is pattern piece 6, and you will gather that, attach it to the front and the back, and so one side goes on either side of that panel that goes down the center of the dress or tunic that you're making. And this, I went ahead and prepped this. This is pattern pieces 3 and 4. This is the front and back neck facing. I went ahead and sewed it together. You can see the seams right here, front, side, because that will help hold its shape much better. I went ahead and added, I just did the iron-on interfacing. So that piece is ready to be attached. Now for the pockets, pattern piece 8, I cut 2 of them. One thing I'm thinking about doing before, I have to decide if I want to do this. Before I sew these on, I'm thinking about pulling out my embroidery machine and doing some sort of pattern. I'm not sure what, but I think I want to do it like tone on tone. As you can see, I am using this really beautiful, I don't know how well it's coming across on screen. It's not white, it's not ivory. It's like a light buttery color. So very pale buttery yellow. So I'm thinking about doing that or doing some decorative stitching, because this is the fold line and then you stitch it across. I'm thinking about even doing like some decorative stitching just across that as well, and then some sort of pattern on here. So we'll see. This is going to be a process. So those are all the pieces. First thing I'm going to do is take my pattern piece number 2, which is the back 2 pieces, and get those sewn together. Sew that onto the front piece, and then put the interfacing on the neck. Once you get through that, the rest of this goes really fast. Okay, so I got the 2 back pieces sewn together, and the little slit at the top. Just rolled this over, press it down. Now I'm going to turn it right side up, and then we're going to take our front piece and attach it right side down. The hardest thing I'm having to figure out is, okay, which is the right, which is the wrong side. It looks so similar. I wish I'd taken time to mark it. Too late now. Okay, so now I'm going to attach it from the neck to the shoulder, leaving the armhole open, and down the sides. I'll stitch that together, and then I'll be right back, and we will add the interfacing for the neck. Okay, so we've seamed it down the side, across the shoulders. So front and back are now attached. Now it is time to add the facing for the neck. So I'm just going to do this first just to make sure. We start at the center. I'll just put a little finger press in it like that. And line it up, because this seam right here that I haven't ironed out is actually the center. We use my new cute little pins that I got. I still love these things. Okay, so I'm going to get this pinned on and sew it all the way around the neck into the back. Now, before I get all the way to the end, I am going to take some elastic and make a little loop. And the reason you're going to do that, let me show you on here. I'm going to go ahead and make a little loop and go ahead and attach it so that it gets sandwiched in between the back part of the opening. So you can see that right there. There we go. And the facing, because that will be for your button closure. So let me get pinning. So day 2 of me sewing on my Easter dress. I took a break yesterday from the actual sewing, and I kind of looked through the embroidery patterns that I had purchased to see if there was anything in there that I would like to put on the pockets, and nothing was really catching my eye. So I got on the on some websites and started searching, and still didn't find anything. So I don't want to just add something just to add it. Maybe, pockets are at least easy. So if I ever want to take them off and, put an embroidery pattern on them and then reattach them, I can. But for now, what I have went ahead and done, I got this morning and started sewing. I did get the top finished. So you can see that the facing is now in. And I did try this on, so I did not need to take it up. This is going to fit across. It's going to fit me just right, which is great. So, but let me show you what I did do. I wanted to find a decorative stitch, and I thought, it'd be really pretty to do just kind of tone on tone. It's not going to come across as well probably on camera as it does in real life, which that's fine. So I tested out some different ones, and I just put this on a piece of scrap so you can see it. This is the design that I decided to go with. Kind of looks like little ribbons, or maybe a vine with leaves. So I did go ahead and make both pockets. I'm going to try to show you. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on screen. There we go. So I put that right across the very top of the pocket. basically over the seam from where I folded it down. I did that on both of those. And I don't know if you noticed when I held this up, I'll put it closer to the camera. I also did it all the way around the neckline, which I like. I'm going to add it around the sleeve as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it all the way around the bottom of the dress because it's going to be a pretty long dress and I'm pretty short. So I don't know how many people would actually notice it on the hem, but we'll see. So next step, now that I have the pockets done, I'm going to go ahead and attach the arms or the sleeves to the top and try to get the top part of this finished. And then all we have to do is start focusing on the bottom half, gathering up the skirt parts to attach to that center panel. Remember the center panel that goes down the front. Okay, so just match up the one notch and the top and bottom of the sleeve. Now, as you probably notice, these sleeves are very, very wide. I want to say I might have tapered them on the other ones, and so I may have to taper these in just a little bit. Give me a second just to finish pinning this and I'll show you the picture again of the tunic. Okay, so you can see this is the bottom where the cuff's going to go. This is the top that attaches. This is the part that attaches to the rest of the sleeve. Now, if you take a close look, you see that it does have a very wide hem kind of cuff on it, which is fine. But, you know, even looking here at her arms, it doesn't look as wide. So I'll kind of pin them in place and then decide if I want to taper them. I want to say that the first 2 times I made it, I did. Or maybe the first time. I'm not sure I did with the black one. But we'll see. Okay, so I did end up tapering them just a little bit. I tried it on. I had pinned it together and very gently tried it on. And so just a mild taper, not that much. And I think everything's going to be fine. So now, next step is I'm going to measure up the hem on both sleeves, kind of figure out where I want them to hit on my arm, and go ahead and put the coordinating decorative stitching across the bottom. Once I finish that, let me move this over. The next thing I will need to do is pull out the skirting pieces. And this is the front. So we'll focus on the front first by getting the pockets placed, and then using a ruffler foot to gather up both of the panels, then gather up the back panel and sew it together. Okay, so before starting the panels, I went ahead and I'd almost forgotten on the sleeves I needed to add the decorative stitching. So I did 2 rows. I really love the way it looks. The other thing was I took time, because this fabric is very, I don't know, it just frays. I went and did pinking shear all the way around. So now the top part is ready. I reread the instructions, which I'm glad I did, for the panels, because I forgot you're supposed to sew them all together before you ruffle them. Which, honestly, if you're ruffling by hand, if you're going to gather it yourself and draw it up, I think it would be easier to do, you might sew them all together, but gather each panel separately, because this is a lot of material. So I went ahead, I also took the pinking shears to this as well. And the other thing I did was I went ahead, oops, I got it upside down. I went ahead and measured in and placed the pockets. Now I based the measurements off of the last last tunic that I made from this pattern. So I am 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. That actually really worked well. I think it was better for me to raise them because I'm short. I have short arms, and it still looks really good with the placement. So all I did was I went ahead and seamed the 3 panels together. Don't forget, your back panel is the really big panel. So be sure you're paying attention to that when you're pinning together. There's the other pocket. So I think now, well, before I gather it, I'm going to sew these pockets in place. And then it will be time to pull out my shearing foot and shear this all together. Okay, so I got the pockets sewn in place, and I used my shearing foot and gathered at the top. Now the one thing I did do was I came in about a thumb's length, so probably about 3/4 of an inch from the edge before I started ruffling, because for making the last 2, I remembered how difficult it was to, if this is all gathered up, to pin it in place with that front panel when attaching it. So by doing that, that will make it a lot easier to pin and get it into place. And so now that we have our skirt gathered up and we have our pockets in place, it is time to pin the bottom of the skirt to the top part of the dress. Okay, got it all pinned together. Now I'm going to tell you, when you're pinning the skirting part onto the top, you do have to pay attention, like right here, I just noticed, you've got to pay attention to where you are pinning so that you don't catch any fabric that you don't want. It's just a delicate situation. And when you're doing the skirting, you will have to fiddle a little bit probably with, the gathers. So it might take a little bit of time. It actually takes longer, I think, to get this all pinned on the way it should be and the way you like it than it does to sew it together, which I'm now ready to do. And I got the skirting part attached to the top. Everything looks really good. I decided to put it on my mannequin Betty just so I could kind of get an idea of how much hemming I'm going to need to do. I don't think I'm going to need to do that much. And then the last thing to do is to add the button. So I only need 1 button, as you can see. And so I started looking through my collection, and this was the only one that kind of seemed to work. The other ones were just like such a bright yellow, and I'm not even sure that I like that up against the gold, although you're probably not going to see it because I do have longer hair. The other thing I would start looking at this was a separate collection of buttons that I had bought, and I don't even remember where I bought them. And I started looking at some of the yellow ones. That is too big. But I have a question. I bought these buttons, and there are several like this. This one's really cute. Has little checks on it. There's a stripe one. Can someone tell me? You see that? All right. How are you supposed to attach it? Or is this just for craft and gluing on? I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with those. And it's a shame because there's several of them and they're all different colors, but I don't know. Now the other alternative to this pearlized button is I forgot I had this. I have some cover buttons that I could use. I had totally forgotten that I had these kits. I do have extra of the fabric, and I'm almost tempted to just go ahead and make a fabric covered button so it kind of blends in. So I will have to make that decision and go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and attach the button and then finish hemming. So when I come back, I'll have a finished dress for you. And it is done. I love the way it turned out. It's exactly what I was hoping for, and I'm really looking forward to wearing this on Easter. So I did make one tiny adjustment. Originally I had cut this for long sleeves, and because I had done that for the Christmas one too, and I thought, okay, I'll cut it for the long sleeve. But it just felt like it didn't look quite right with the dress, at least not on me. And I thought about it, I'm like, this is a nice light material. I'm going to be wearing it when the weather is warmer. So let's cut the sleeve a little bit shorter. And so I did take it down to a 3/4 length. And it actually kind of really changed the look on me, how the dress hung. I think it just looked better at a 3/4 length. And with a 3/4 length sleeve and it being as nice and drapey as it is, I will be able to wear this well into summer. So I am going to very quickly go take some pictures of the final result so that you can see it, and I will post those at the end of the video. So thank you for joining me again this week. If you decide to make an artisan tunic or artisan dress, you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help if I can. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for being a part of it, for liking the videos and watching them. I appreciate you so much. So I will be back again next week. And until then, happy sewing.